Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Rockingham. Hope you are all looking forward to some cracking racing over the next hour or so. We've got the third race of the weekend coming up next for the Pro Tyre Motorsport Ginetta GT5 Challenge. They had a race earlier on this morning that was very entertaining indeed. Lots of great racing up and down the order. My name's Andy McEwen, up here in the commentary box overlooking the Rockingham circuit, keeping you up to date, hopefully, with everything that's going on out on the circuit. And once again, I'm delighted to have next to me Charlie Butler-Henderson. Charlie, I think you enjoyed the first of these Pro Tyre Ginetta GT5 Championship races as much as I did.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. We had a really good scrap. We had loads of people locking up. We had cars beached in the grass and that were getting stuck with all the rain we've had. Yeah, it's been pretty crazy actually. So, and this is probably going to be a bit more of a mental race because the cars are going to get fixed now before the next round, so they're going to be a little bit more aggressive, I reckon, and they're going to be pushing a little bit harder, I believe. So I think we're in for a little bit more action.
There you go, you heard it here first there. Charlie Butler-Henderson, who knows a thing or two about motor racing, reckons this is going to be another very interesting race. One thing that almost guarantees there'll be action is that we have a partially reversed grid for this one as well. We saw on the podium after the first race this morning that a random grid draw was done. The top 8 cars, therefore, from the results of race 2 of the weekend have been reversed to form the grid for this one. Now, whenever you give a group of, in this case, relatively young racing drivers a reverse grid race to end their weekend, you're guaranteed fireworks, aren't you?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's always frustrating as well, because when you're the person that's won that race, and then you're the one that picks the number.
Yeah.
You want to pick the lowest number possible, so as little people, so you get shuffled back down the order as little as possible. So when the leader picked number 8, you could see the disgust on his face going, oh God, I've got 8 people now that I've got to pass to get back to where my points, to get my prize again, because obviously they all want to go back with a bottle of champagne and drink over the weekend or during the week, and they all want a nice trophy as well, and we did like the trophies, didn't we?
Yes, they're rather fetching trophies, and they'll be up on the podium steps being prepared in the next few minutes ahead of the start of this race. Well, the man who made the grid draw, the double race winner so far this weekend, and the man on form is James Kellett. But James, as we've been discussing, will have to start this one from 8th place on the grid. He has, though, moved ahead into the championship lead, so 132 points have now been scored by James Kellett, and that puts him just over about 13 points or so clear of anybody else. Shane Stoney's in second, Charlie Digby is third, but he's had a bit of a torrid weekend so far, Charlie Digby, so he wants to watch Charlie from 30th on the grid.
30th on the grid. Colin Grady, that's Colin Grady is the one. It was the yellow car that was had the bumper or the front bonnet missing. Let's hope that he's going to be out, and I'm looking forward to seeing him coming up.
Absolutely. Well, if you weren't with us earlier on this morning to watch the second race of the weekend, the first one that we broadcast for you today, then I believe that we can show you some of the highlights of what was an energetic 15 minutes of racing. It was a very evenly matched start from both of our front row sitters, James Kellett and Alex Toth-Jones. Alex on the outside line made the run down towards turn number 1, but the two would run wheel to wheel for the majority of the opening lap. Moving through into third place early on there, we had plenty of shuffling. Shane Stoney was one down in 5th on the grid looking to make progress, but remarkably we got everybody through the first couple of corners more or less in one piece. As they made their way down towards the Tarzan hairpin, that's where James Kellett made his move to retake the race lead away, whilst there was a spin further back for Charlie Martin, exiting Gracelands. More dramas as well for several cars a bit further back. Sami Saralainen there having a rotation down at Tarzan opening lap. Having got the race lead, James Kellett attempted to pull away from Alex Toth-Jones, but was never really able to do so, and the pair were being reeled in by Shane Stoney, whilst behind, Jerry Nicosia was getting stuck right into a scrap with Conor O'Brien. He dived up the inside into the chicane, and the man following them, Sebastian Arenram, was able to take full advantage.
There's the beached car.
Yeah, Carlito Maraca and Max Bird getting together down at the Dean hairpin.
Spin of the race.
How on earth did he save that, Charlie? That was a remarkable moment, wasn't it?
Heart rate monitor needed. Heart rate monitor needed.
Yes, Sebastian Arenram, that was again. In the end, though, James Kellett was able to hang on to that double race victory and move into the championship lead. So, dramatic racing so far, but we documented in race 1 that we had a double race victory last time out at Alton Park for Shane Stoney. We've had a double race victory this time for James Kellett, but now we have this third race of the weekend. So, who's your money on? One of those two, or is there someone else who's caught your eye?
I'm going to go for Grady from the back. 30th place, number 25, Grady in the yellow car, providing he's got his car fixed. I have been wandering around the paddock having a good look and see what's been going on, but my money's going to be on him. let's just go for it, because I think there's going to be a little bit of carnage in the middle. That's my prediction. Not that I'm negative, but there's going to be a little bit negative.
Another bold prediction then from Charlie Butler-Henderson. Well, this is how they will line up this one. As I mentioned, we have this top 8 grid reversal, so some of the really quick drivers from the first 2 races have quite a bit of work to do in this one. Morgan Quinn was the big beneficiary, though. 8th in race 2 means that he starts on pole position for race 3 in a privately entered car as well. The Optimum Motorsport squad, though, have Jerry Nicosia up there at the front of the grid. He was very racy in the previous race. Charlie Digby and Conor O'Brien make up row 2, ahead of Scott McKenna and Shane Stoney, who lost that championship lead in the early part of the weekend. He'll be looking to try and get it back. They're on the 3rd row. Top 2 from the first 2 races, Alex Toth-Jones and James Kellett. They're together on the 4th row. Will Dydal and Sebastian Arenram, if he's got that heart rate down after his moment in race 1, will be due to line up on the outside of row 5. Ashley Marshall and Gordon Much are next in line. Zentech Motorsport have a couple of cars, in fact, in this portion of the grid. Matt Rainbow is next in line. And
just stopping on Matt Rainbow, it is a very colourful grid as well. There's lots and lots of multicoloured cars out there as well. So it's a massive grid and very, very colourful as well. I just saw the word rainbow.
I see what you did there.
I thought there was a bit of a link.
It was appreciated. Well done, Charlie. He's got Katie Milner alongside. Now, Katie was very impressive last year when she made her debut in the championship, and then sort of the start of this year, she's had a few little dramas. Don't think she gets on particularly well with the wet conditions. Now it's dry today. She should be able to move up from 14th. She gained several spots in race 1. Someone who gained a lot of spots in race 1 was Richard Evans. He won the AM class, having started 30th on the grid, passed 15 cars to finish 15th overall and win that amateur class. Nick Halstead down in 19th on the grid was his nearest rival. Between them on the grid for this one, we have Matt Maxted, Brett Ward and Max Bird, Charlie, who we saw have a couple of moments on the grass in the first race. He's one to watch as well moving forward.
Yeah, and he's also with a very good team as well. Century Motorsport have been renowned for being very well known in the Ginettas, so a very well prepared car. But going back to the Quattro Motorsport of Richard Evans, maybe if Katie doesn't like it in the wet, she can maybe get a Quattro, get a 4-wheel drive Ginetta to give her a little bit more traction out of those corners, give her a bit more confidence, as it were.
You're on fire today, Charlie. I'm loving it. Josh Hislop and Phil McCarthy are next in line. Then Adrian Campbell-Smith, who we also saw getting involved in some dramas. In fact, quite a lot of these drivers towards the tail end of the grid really shouldn't be there. They're only down there because the results from the second race of the weekend have decided the grid for this one, and so if they had issues, they found themselves out of position. Sammy Sarilainen, one of those, then James Townsend and Tom Mallet, Dale Albert and Andrew Marshall, and then a few of the cars that didn't make it to the finish in the first race this morning. Matt Contos is one of them. Conor Grady, Charlie's pick for the win, 30th on the grid. But you know what? He started well back in the previous race, didn't he? Conor Grady, 17th, and was inside the top 10.
He was up to 8th, I think, at one point. So yeah, I'm just going to go for the outside bet. Like I put £5 on Ricardo for the weekend. So if Vettel and Hamilton and all that sort of stuff have a little bit of a ding-dong, I should be in for winning about 40 quid, I think it is.
Oh, well,
so
there
not
you go.
much.
Not a bad payday.
Every little helps. Every little helps.
Oh, you're telling me. Right at the back of the grid, by the way, Carlito Moracco and Gus Bowers. Carlito, another quick driver. There's some real strength in depth in this championship this year, isn't there, Charlie? Lots of relatively new names, youngsters certainly, but you can get into motor racing these days from the age of 14 in the junior category, so a lot of these youngsters are actually really experienced.
Which is crazy, really, because I was one of the youngest people to go into motorsport in Vauxhall Junior back in, 1995, when we were allowed to be 16 or 17 without even a driving licence. Now 14 years old, it's crazy. It makes you think, why bother with karting? Just do a little bit of karting maybe at your indoor kart track and then go on a full-blown race car. So it's scary, the fact that the kids are so young, but also so talented as well.
Absolutely. Of course, arrive and drive karting a big thing these days, so that you, me, anybody can go down to their local karting track, plug themselves into one of those things and see what you've got. And speaking of go-karting, a lot of the drivers who drive this Ginetta GT5 car say that they are really like a big go-kart. They've got an awful lot of grip, a low centre of gravity, and they really hold the road well. So they are able to translate pace from karting into these Ginetta GT5 cars. Well, as we can see from the pictures on the screen, we've got the last few stragglers making their way out of Parc Ferme and about to line up on the grid ahead of what will be a green flag lap, a significant lap, because it's the last chance for the 32 drivers on the grid to get some heat into those tyres.
That car that we're seeing at the moment was the one that got involved in the incident at Tarzan that I said that had a bit of smoke coming out of it.
Yes.
And then we've got the Italian flag car at the front that got the steaming a little bit, actually. It's got a little bit of condensation coming out the back of it, so let's keep an eye on that. But that was the one that was in the the mud earlier, so maybe there's a bit of moisture still on the exhaust.
Right, okay. Gus Bowers, the blue and white car Charlie was mentioning, the student, 17 years of age, again, demonstrating just how young some of these drivers are. Very, very quick. Many of them, as I say, have been racing cars for 3 or 4 years already. The front row of the grid then, we have Morgan Quinn and Jerry Nicosia, both of whom, well, certainly Morgan, looking for, I think, his first ever podium in the championship. Certainly hasn't won a race yet. And of course, this is an opportunity for the likes of Jerry and Charlie Digby as well, who haven't had the start of the season that they would have expected, to try and score some championship points. Charlie Digby comes into this race third in points, but he's already 52 points behind James Kellett. I know it's early in the season, Charlie, but you don't want that sort of a deficit, do you?
Okay, so no, you don't. Not this early in the season, not at all. So we've got Morgan Quinn there, the first car that we can see, the blue and white car, just going out of shot, had a bit of a lock-up. It actually braked quite hard going into turn 1, trying to get some heat into his tyres. But at the same time, you don't want to be locking up your wheels, because then it turns out to be like a 50p piece, and you end up getting out the car, having a constant massage with your hands and getting pins and needles because the car's vibrating so much. So maybe they're being a bit too aggressive on the brakes. You just want to blend on and off the brake pedal, get some heat into the tyre, because obviously the heat from the disc spreads through into the tyre, and that's why they're weaving left and right. They're rear-wheel drive cars, sequential gearboxes, but they need to get some heat into the front tyres, because I believe, by talking to some of the GT teams, the track temperature is about 12 degrees, so it's very cold. It's bitterly cold here at Rockingham, and not much warmer in the commentary box.
No, you're telling me. It is rather chilly here at Rockingham, unfortunately. It's also very windy. Now, what sort of effect does the wind have? These cars don't weigh that much, do they? So you'd imagine the wind will have quite an effect.
Well, you've got the main pit area here at Rockingham, which is like, so it's quite a big block, which is blocking some of the wind from the different bits of the track. But yeah, definitely, if the wind isn't going in your favour and you're going round, say, for example, a long left-hand bend, and a big gust of wind hits you on the left, that can definitely alter the car, and we've seen that with Formula 1 as well. The cars are so light and nimble, any bit of wind hitting the side of the car acts as like a bit of a barge, really, to be honest with you, and it sort of pushes you offline slightly. So yes, I think it will slightly affect it. Looking at the flags that we can see flapping around, it's pushing the cars down the pit straight, but it will be against them coming back up from Tarzan, from the main hairpin that we're seeing the cars coming out of now.
Yeah, that tailwind down the pit straight means they're going to arrive down at that first corner even quicker than they usually would. That is the fastest part of the circuit. They run out of turn 1 on the banking and down into the braking point at the Dean hairpin. We got them all through safely in race number 2. Do you fancy another bold prediction, Charlie? Will that happen again in this one?
No.
No. I tend to agree with you there, I think. This is going to be a busy run down into that Dean hairpin for the first time. Cars then gridding up. It takes quite a while to get the whole field round on a...
They're also stopping quite a long way back from their white line as well. You would have thought, I was always just on the edge of legality by pulling up as close as I could to the white line, because obviously you've qualified well. Problem for Charlie Digby, the door's open, there's smoke from the back of the car. Okay, so there's going to be another lap and the start will be aborted, I would have thought.
Possibly, although the door is now closed.
Unless he's going to go for it and then pull over. But yes, there might be a start aborted, we don't know yet. We'll keep you posted on that. But if he's stopped waving his arm around, that means that he's happy.
Yeah, and the door has closed again, but there was just that element of concern just for a moment to see pulled up third on the grid for Charlie, and I just made the point.
Green flag's being waved.
He needs those points. Yes, green flag being waved at the back. We're about to go racing in round number 5 of the Pro Time Motorsport Ginetta GT5 Challenge here from Rockingham. We do get a start. We get a good start made by Jerry Nicosia from the outside of row number 1. Watch out for Alex Toft-Jones and James Kellett from further back as well as they dive down towards the first corner, but it's Nicosia that leads the way. Morgan Quinn slots into second, and already Alex Toft-Jones is up to third place on the inside line. Charlie Digby, the green, white and yellow car, trying to follow him through on the inside. Hold your breath, everyone, though.
Three abreast. Is there's going to be a bit of a touch? Are they going to touch?
Round the outside.
Yes, a bit of a Constantine.
No, that's Sebastian Arenram again, who looked for a moment like he was going to be the hero and sail around the outside of everyone, but he was a bit too quick.
That spin wasn't as good as the last one in race 1.
No, but it's more costly in a way because it's dropped him right to the very back of the grid. Got a glimpse there of Max Bird in midfield. The top 2 single file. Alex Toft-Jones still debating third place with Charlie Digby by the looks of it. Bit of paint being traded further back, but
leader breaking away as well.
Yeah, I was about to make the point. He's starting to make that break because Morgan Quinn in second place is defending, holding everyone else up as Charlie Digby rotates. Oh no! Charlie Digby third in the championship. He won't be after this race if he keeps that up. He's a long way off the track. Cold tyres, Charlie?
Cold tyres, but also remember he was the one that was smoking on the grid, so
yes.
had he slipped on his own oil, I'll make an excuse for him. That might have happened, but at the same time, it just looked like a bit of a driver error because the car seemed to be fine for the first couple of corners.
Well then, so he joins Sebastian Arenram at the back of the field. At the front of the field, Alex Toft-Jones here is attacking Morgan Quinn for second place. He wants to get past Morgan as quickly as possible before Jerry Nicosia gets too far up the road. Everybody else down through the chicane more or less in one piece, but we were right in our predictions. The first lap's been a bit more robust this time around than it was in the earlier race. Nicosia leads then. The gap at the line officially is over a second. That's impressive. From Morgan Quinn in second, Alex Toft-Jones is third, Shane Stoney is fourth, Scott McKenna is there in fifth, O'Brien is sixth, Didal seventh, Katie Milner up into eighth place, having started 14th. Good start from the quick lady racer, but we're side by side for second place with Alex Toft-Jones round the outside into the Dean hairpin. He wants to cut back to the late apex, but watch out because our double race winner James Kellett is now alongside him. This may not quite pay off for Alex Toft-Jones as they make their way down towards Yentwood. He holds on to third, but this is a fascinating battle because we've got the top two drivers from this weekend held up here behind the side of the Coca car, and again James Kellett does it, takes full advantage of Alex Toft-Jones getting held up by Morgan Quinn, and he moves back ahead of his sparring partner from the first two races.
And he's going to lose another place because he's been ousted out. No, he hasn't. He's managed to secure it, but going through pit path, that long sweeping bumping left-hander isn't the easiest to corner, especially when you get pushed wide by another car that's just passed you. And we've both just spotted that Conor Grady, the yellow car that crashed,
non-starter.
He's a non-starter, so I'm going to put my money on somebody else in a minute. Give me a chance, give me a chance. That's my bet.
In about 12 minutes time, you'll probably give me a really solid prediction.
I'll tell you.
12 minutes left on the clock then, and this battle for second place is still raging on. Morgan Quinn now, though, with James Kellett behind him. Now, can James do 3 out of 3? That is not easy to do. He goes right around the outside of the first part of the chicane, gives him the inside for the right-hander, but the outside again for the final turn. This is fraught with danger. Oh, look at this. Alex Toft-Jones up the inside. You can't keep these two apart, can you?
Six abreast, and they're going to rub fiberglass.
Oh, this is so close, isn't it? These have been the two star drivers all weekend. They're still tied together by absolutely nothing, side by side. Toft-Jones on the inside. Oh, Shane Stoney gets a double slipstream, and they go up the inside of the pair of them. This can't work, and surely.
Watch out for car 22, O'Brien, round the outside of maybe the lot of them.
Oh, this is all so congested. It's all playing beautifully into the hands of Jerry Nicosia, who's waving goodbye. 2 seconds up the road already from Morgan Quinn, still second. There is O'Brien around the outside of Shane Stoney. Nothing doing there. Someone else joining in now the fun as well. That's Will Didal, I think, in 8th position. But the more that Morgan Quinn has to defend, Charlie, the more momentum he'll lose, and the bigger this group is going to become.
Exactly that. But yeah, points make prizes, so they will be out for the championship points at the same time. But when there's now a 6-way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-car battle for second place. I told you it's going to get messy, and I think it will. But yeah, fastest lap at the moment for Nicosia, who's leading, who is literally in the car now. Oh, a bit of contact, definitely contact there.
Yeah, Stoney into the back of James Kellett, that was. Round the outside comes O'Brien again, and he might be able to pick up a place here at the expense of Shane Stoney. Shane, who won both the races at Alton Park last time out. Didal gets alongside as well. So
O'Brien, he's definitely gained there.
Yeah, he's gone through. Can Didal go around the outside? I don't think he can. This is all getting very, very close. And now we've got the next group being led by Katie Milner, really noticeably starting to bridge the gap, isn't they?
So we could see like a 12 or 15 car battle for second place. But yes, so second man is Quinn is starting to pull away a little bit from that battle, but he doesn't seem like he's quick all the way around the lap. So I think we're going to see him get caught in a minute. Maybe he's not very good on the brakes coming into Dean Hairpin, and that's when the pack catches him. But yes, it's definitely fraught. Yeah,
they're not actually quite as close to him this time in the braking zone, although yes, you are right, they're visibly later on the brakes, so Morgan does still feel the need to defend. James Kellett's back behind Alex Toft-Jones now, but not for long, because he dives up the inside at Dean. Oh, well, fair play, gave him room on the exit of the corner there, Charlie.
Oh, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, well, I sort of suspected that. They're still side by side. How often have we seen these two side by side today? It's been great racing between Kellett and Toft-Jones. They're still side by side, and James Kellett goes around the outside of two right-handers to take third place. That takes some doing.
And that can be done at Chapman, which is turn 3 where they were just a minute ago. Now they're going through pit path. You can see the cars bouncing around, oversteering. You can see the drivers fighting the rear-wheel drive car, Pallard's cars, just as they're trying to get the car going in forwards rather than sideways, but it's always good fun having a nice slide through those corners.
Down to Tarzan, this is a good overtaking opportunity. Toff Jones goes to the outside of Kellett. Shane Stoney dives back up the inside of O'Brien, and I think he might be about to take 5th place back away. Oh no, they're still discussing it on the exit of the corner.
How much road does he want to use? that's the old racing pit lane, yes, the old racing school pit lane.
Yeah, he was heading down the pit lane for a moment there, wasn't he, James Kellett? But it works. He gets himself ahead of Alex Toff Jones. What about Stoney and
Two
O'Brien?
abreast again.
Oh, O'Brien.
Those curbs are really high at the chicane as well, so the red painted curbs that you see there are like big sausages. They're like really, really high, and they do damage the suspension and the underneath of the car. So, and the mechanics as well, freezing, absolutely freezing on the pit wall. You can't really see the pit wall from where you are because you're trying to concentrate on not hitting the banking, and you can't really glance over enough to see the pit board. But the mechanics have to do that because you might just need a little bit of information. This is going to end in tears. Something's going to. These are very fraught, this race. This is great stuff. We love it, and you always get this from the Ginettas.
Yeah. Now the car to watch out for here is the blue and black number 44 in the background. That's Max Bird. Max Bird started this one well down the order, 18th on the grid.
Yeah.
He set the fastest lap of the race, and he's already into 8th place. And he's on the tail now. This battle has finally. They've prized the door open. So James Kellett gets through into 2nd place. Morgan Quinn's not going to let Alex Toff Jones through that easily though.
And O'Brien's going to make up.
Oh,
has he got his nose? He's just managed to hold it. This is great. I'm loving it. This is brilliant. Keep at it, boys. Keep at it.
You can see why Ginetta Racing is so popular with drivers and fans alike. That's Scott McKenna there, the white, blue and yellow car on the inside of Shane Stoney, whose race is rather unravelling here, isn't it? I really thought Stoney would be on the podium in this one. He's slipping ever further back.
Yeah. So we've got the 2nd place man has moved where? Look at the leader. Gone.
Yeah.
He's nearly a whole back lap. There he is, just coming into the bottom of our shot there. You know, he's rubbing his hands together going, yeah, I'm going to have one of those 1st place trophies.
Max
We're going to have 3 abreast again.
Yeah, I thought Max was going to be the one to watch. He's now on the inside of Shane Stoney. Look, the blue and black car.
He's got it. He's done the move.
You would imagine so. He's got the inside line for the last corner.
And now he's going to push him wide up the banking.
Katie Milner's there to take advantage if they do come together. She might take advantage anyway because she's got a really good exit from the corner there. The red bonneted car that pulls to the inside of Shane Stoney. No, she can't quite draw fully alongside. So Stoney has now dropped all the way down to 8th position. Not the race that he was expecting to have. Jerry Nicosia's lead, incidentally, 4.8 seconds, and he's just set the fastest lap of the race, which is worth a bonus point too.
Yeah.
And they can all count when we get towards the end of the year.
But well spotted that that Bird in 7th place got the fastest lap. I didn't spot that, so well done on that one.
The fastest lap now actually belongs to Carlito Morocco down in 13th, and Carlito started 31st. So
that's another one to watch. And at the same time, because these guys are all battling, they're not doing fastest lap times. They're just squabbling over them. They're tripping over themselves. They like having your shoelaces untied, and they're all basically just tripping over each other.
Oh dear, this is close again as Alex Toff Jones still can't get past Morgan Quinn. I thought he'd done it there, but he's now found himself hung out to dry on the outside and had to back out of the move. Otherwise, the cars behind were going to start pouring through. Scott McKenna there with O'Brien in the number 22 car drawing alongside him briefly. But this is not good news for Alex Toff Jones. It's good news for us because this is phenomenal racing, but Toff Jones can see James Kellett escaping ever further up the road. I'll be interested to see what Kellett's lap times are like compared to the leader. Contact there between McKenna and Toff Jones, and Alex's mood will not have improved after that because he's now lost another place. So down into
3 abreast again.
Position. That is now for Toff Jones.
Oh, that was clever. Oh. Very, very clever of Toff Jones in the 89 car, is it?
Shane Stoney.
Shane Stoney, sorry, yeah. Stoney, yeah. But now he's on the outside of the banking. He's going to get pushed wide by Katie.
And look at Max Bird on the inside of all 3 of them.
Thank you very much, ladies and gents. I'll take that.
That was phenomenal. That is all about momentum. They're 4 abreast. 4 abreast across the start-finish line. Stoney on the outside, Bird on the inside, with O'Brien and Toff Jones in the middle. They're 4 abreast still all the way through turn 1. Shane Stoney has to back out of it. Katie Milner's joining in as well. This will not work. Hard onto the brakes into the Dean hairpin. Stoney round the outside. Toff Jones fends them off. And diving up the inside. Who's that? Car number 24, I think that was.
Yes,
which is
Will Didle.
Yeah, diving up the inside, joining in as well. What phenomenal racing we're being treated to.
This is brilliant.
This is one of those races you don't want to end. We've got 5 minutes left of it though, so there's plenty of time to sort this out.
Do you think they will sort it out?
Well, they're trying, but they're not really getting anywhere, are they?
No.
Up the inside goes McKenna. He's going to go past Morgan Quinn. Is he? Yes, no, maybe no. Morgan Quinn hangs on there in the number 12 car, which has got big donuts down the side of where he's had. Yes, it's been robust, but I think you'd agree with me, Charlie. Despite the odd bit of paint being traded, there's been nothing malicious. It's just been good, hard racing.
No, this has been very good, actually. It's very, very fair racing, so I'm impressed with that. We got another spinner.
81, I think that's said, which is McGarty from further down back, Phil McGarty. Not sure whether that's a spin.
Could have been just an innocent little spin.
Yeah, no damage done.
Oh, this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoa, we don't want to go there. Over the grass, yeah.
Shane Stoney has covered more miles than anyone else in this race because he's been hung out to dry on so many occasions of that Tarzan hairpin, and it really is meaning that his race is not going the way that he hoped. Max Bird as well still behind him, so Max, who I thought was gaining ground, he's lost a few spots in the last couple of laps.
Stoney's bonnet as well doesn't quite look like he's either lost a light, but it might just be the paint job, but it just looks like it's slightly skew wet, and we've often seen, it might just be my eyes at the moment, but it looks like it's slightly been dislodged ever so slightly. And how many times have we all seen a Ginetta bonnet fly off or fly up and block the driver's vision?
Yes, the idea of that, I believe, is to try and deter front-end contact. It sort of is working, as Morgan Quinn. I'm really impressed with Morgan Quinn's defensive driving here. Okay, he's lost a couple of places, but he's still third, and I'll be honest, I didn't expect him to be on the podium at this point of the race. We've got Charlie Digby, I can see out of the window in the pit lane, Scott McKenna, and Alex Top Jones, both on the grass. They were two separate incidents, but Top Jones really losing out there. He's back behind Shane Stoney again now, and he's lost part of the rear trim on that car. Meanwhile, as hard as it is to drag our attention away from this battle for third, Alistair Kellett in second place is catching the race leader. He set the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 31.5. He was 7/10 quicker than Jerry Nicosia on the last lap. Has he got time? 3 minutes to go, 3.6 seconds back. That's going to be close.
It is going to be close. I'd like to keep it still alive, but just watching out of the commentary box here and taking my eyes off the TV screen, he's still got quite a commanding lead. But the car, Kellett's car in second place, definitely looks like it's on more of a mission than the lead car. The lead car looks like he's just chilled out and he's sort of just nursing it home.
Oh, Scott McKenna, sorry to interrupt there.
No, that's fine.
The inside of Katie Milner, who has found her way, I think, into the top 5 now. We'll double check this when she comes through, but I think Katie Milner, from way down on 14th on the grid, has got through into the top 5, and she did not benefit from the reverse grid. She's had to do all of this out on the racetrack. Great drive, yes, she is. 5th place for Milner, McKenna down to 6th, Stoney down to 7th, and Alex Toft Jones, twice this weekend he's finished 2nd, now he's all the way down in 8th place.
Yeah, a phenomenal drive from the young lady as well, especially as you said, she likes the dry more than she does the wet, so and it's proving that in dividends really. So the second place man just going past there. This is the fight for third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars fighting for third place.
Lead gap cleared down by another 7/10 that time, by the way, so it's under 3 seconds now. But this is the battle still going on for third place. It is still Morgan Quinn who's holding off now the number 22 machine of Conor O'Brien, who started 4th, is running 4th. Katie Milner started 14th, is now running 5th, and she can see a podium here. She only needs to get past these next 2 cars. I say only, that's going to be a lot easier said than
well
done.
on the gravel, that's well in there. That's well beach. Car number 38.
Maxted, that would be.
Maxted. Will that cause an early checker flag or yellow flag?
I'm not sure where that is.
On the entry into Tars.
No, it's exit
of Chapman on the right hand side. So he's spun round, and there's another spinner as well.
Yeah, involved in the same incident,
71.
I think, was Charlie Martin. So he has rejoined, but unfortunately the other car is well and truly buried in the gravel trap. Right, here comes Katie Milner. She's up alongside O'Brien now, but Scott McKenna's up there as well, and that was good driving from Scott McKenna. Saw the opportunity there, dived up the inside of Katie Milner, and through he goes. Shane Stoney and Alex Toft Jones are still side by side, debating that is 7th place they're fighting over, with Max Bird trying to join in. But we are on to the final lap of the race, so less than a minute to go. The lead gap is down to 2.4 seconds. I don't think that James Kellett is quite going to have the time to get there and take 3 wins from 3, but it's been a really good points haul so far. What about third place? Can Morgan Quinn hang on? O'Brien comes around the outside. Quinn's late on the brakes. They both run in deep. There's a bit of contact where Scott McKenna gets up the inside of O'Brien and might get third.
He's on the outside. Has he just got it? No, O'Brien's. He's just
brilliant.
Done it. But that, it's going to be close. They would have touched a bit of bodywork there, definitely, because O'Brien had nowhere to go really, apart from just tap the car in front.
Yeah, but again, it's just that gentle little nudge budge, not really doing any damage, not spinning another car around. It's just good close racing. When you're racing this close together for 15 minutes, there's going to be a little bit of contact. As long as it's not malicious, there's no problem with it at all. Optimum Motorsport are getting ready to celebrate though, because Jerry Nicosia is making his way through the Tarzan hairpin. He has not quite been able to set the fastest lap from this race. That belongs to James Kellett in second place. You can see how much closer James is now.
Another 2 laps, I'd say, he'd be on him. Another 2 more laps.
He would have got the whiff of the slipstream. Oh no, Scott McKenna! Scott McKenna has been spun at the Tarzan hairpin out of that third place battle. We'll see how far down the order he drops, but out of the final corner comes Jerry Nicosia. It's his first win of the year. He is victorious in round number 5 of the Proton Motorsport Ginetta GT5 Challenge. Scott Kellett is third, and third is going to be Morgan Quinn. He does it. Brilliant drive from Morgan Quinn to get a podium result. Katie Milner equally impressive from 14th to 4th. O'Brien is 5th. There are bits of Ginetta all over the racetrack. It all got a little bit brutal on that last lap. Shane Stoney recovers to 6th. Alex Toth-Jones, big loser in that one, down to 7th. Max Bird 8th. Will Didle 9th. And Carlito Moracco, 31st on the grid, Charlie, finishes 10th. So again, up and down the order, there were battles wherever you looked. Lots of overtaking. What a race.
Yeah, well, we said it was going to be a little bit more fraught, and that definitely was more fraught than race 1 that we saw today. Just because the fact that they just know that the cars are now going into the truck, they're going back to the factory and they're going to get repaired. So they had to be sensible in race 1. A bit like the touring cars, really. Always race 3 is always the messy one.
Yes.
It's always the way.
As appears to be the way with Proton Motorsport Ginetta GT5 Challenge races as well. But made up for Jerry Nicosia, he has come out of the Ginetta junior ranks, like several of the drivers in this championship, taking this chance to step up into the slightly more powerful, slightly more racy Ginetta GT5 Challenge cars. And it's been a fantastic performance from Jerry in that race. He will have been wishing for the checkered flag to appear a little bit earlier, maybe, when he started to see Kellett closing in, but for James Kellett, second place, only at 1.5 seconds back when the checkered flag flew, and that is an impressive points haul for him. So confirmation of your result then. Nicosia wins, Kellett is second. Look how far ahead they were of that third place squabble, but what a third place it was for Morgan Quinn. He'll be made up with that.
Out of breath.
Yeah, I think we are. The drivers certainly are. Katie Milner 4th, Conor O'Brien 5th, Shane Stoney 6th, and Alex Toth-Jones 7th. As I said, they're really the 2 big losers out of that one. Max Bird 8th, Will Didle 9th, and Carlito Moracco, one of the drivers of the race, from the back of the grid to finish 10th. Richard Evans, I believe, is going to be the AM winner again. Yes, he is, in 11th place overall, so an even better result than he had in race 2 this weekend. Gordon Mutch is next. Adrian Campbell-Smith in 13th is the second of the AM finishers, ahead of Brett Ward and Ashley Marshall. Sebastian Arenram, after that first lap spin, recovered to 16th, ahead of Sami Sorolainen. Scott McKenna, last lap spin for him. He dropped from 4th to 18th. He won't be happy with that. Josh Hislop 19th, and Nick Halstead rounds out that top 20. Then it's James Townsend, Matt Rainbow, Gus Bowers and Tom Mallett, ahead of Dale Albert, Charlie Martin, Matt Conxus, Andrew Marshall, Phil McGarty, who we saw have a spin, and Matt Maxted, who I believe was one of our late retirements from the race. The other one, of course, being Charlie Digby, who pulled into the pit lane. So let's remind you of some of the drama that we've managed to catch.
If we can get all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Jerry Nicosia got the start, but look, 4 abreast straight away behind them. That was to set the tone for what was a crazy 5th round of the championship. Up the inside, Alex Toth-Jones made a demon start from 7th to 3rd before they even got out of the first corner, but it was Jerry Nicosia who led all the way, despite that little bump there from Morgan Quinn. Unfortunately, Sebastian Arenram went round in the 83 car down at the Dean hairpin, his race over before it really begun, whilst Charlie Digby and James Kellett did battle in the early going before Charlie pulled into retirement. It soon became all about the battle for second place, with Nicosia pulling away from a sensational dice being led by Morgan Quinn, whilst Alex Toth-Jones and James Kellett, the 2 form men from the weekend, were behind him. Kellett got through early on, leaving Morgan Quinn to defend from the whole rest of the field pretty much to try and hang on to that third place. It was very fraught. There was paint being traded left, right and centre, but by and large, no really overly aggressive driving antics. It was just good, hard racing. We saw a spin late on for the number 38 machine into the gravel trap. Max Maxted even, that was easy for me to say, into the gravel trap, whilst Morgan Quinn got his elbows out, trying desperately to hang on to this podium result. That briefly allowed Scott McKenna to join in the fun, with O'Brien in behind him as they made their way down into the Tarzan hairpin on the last lap. McKenna tipped into a spin by O'Brien, and that dropped him all the way down to 18th place. As the field scrambled out of the final corner, it was a victory for Nicosia, with Kellett in second, Quinn in third, and Katie Milner from 14th on the grid managed to move up into 4th place by the flag. Well, what a race that was. The Pro Tyre Motorsport Ginetta GT5 Challenge never fails to entertain. We thought it would be a good race, that, but that was brilliant stuff there, Charlie. And as we commented rather breathlessly several times throughout the race, close racing, inches apart, and a lot of these drivers still in their teens. That really is a testament to, I guess, the talent that we have now in the youth in motorsport these days.
Yeah, I think, you know, definitely the karting is definitely a good grounding for that. But yeah, there wasn't too much okay, there was a little bit of argy-bargy, but there was nothing that I saw there that was, excuse me, that was actually malicious, really. They all gave each other room, especially coming out of Tarzan, one of the hairpins, when you saw all the cars just kissing the grass as they were being pushed wide onto the exit, onto the extra bit of tarmac. They still gave each other a bit of room. Yeah, there were a few bits, so one bit of bodywork off and a car into the gravel with a bit of damage. But it was a shame not to see our man Conor Grady, who I put money on to do well in that race. Did I say win or do well? Okay.
Well, I believe you said win. I also believe you said you were going to give me a prediction for a winner, but I'm sure you were going to choose Jerry Nicosia, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, of course it was. Yeah, and he's won. Did we put money on it?
Funnily enough, no, we didn't. There is Jerry making his way up to the top step of the podium very shortly. He, Kellett and Morgan Quinn will make their way up there, plus the top 3 AM drivers who were, well, it was a race victory in the AM class for Evans, with Campbell Smith second, and third in the end was the number 40 car of Nick Halstead. So they will be our 3 AM drivers who will make their way to the podium first. Spots of rain on the camera lens up there.
I did see one wiper going earlier, actually, on one of the cars. So that's going to keep our GT teams, well, they've done most of their testing and driving at the moment, the GT teams, which we're going to be watching a little bit later, in the wet. So they've had loads of practice in the rain. But at the same time, yes, not good for the spectators, but also not good for some of the teams that are struggling with the handling of their cars. So we'll talk about that a bit later on. Look, what is he, 12? Bless him. It's tiny little thing, bless him. But obviously very, very quick, very rapid. Good from the weight point of view.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
No extra burgers for these guys.
Absolutely, so it all helps, doesn't it? And of course it's a spec racing class, all the cars are identical. There will be weight balancing, of course, that does go on, but that's what makes the racing so close. The cars are identical, they're prepared by different teams, but they're all prepared to such a high standard that really, performance-wise, there's no difference in the cars, and that means it's all down to the drivers. And that's what we want to see, isn't it? We want to see the drivers making the difference, the best driver to win, and that's what we get from the Ginetta GT5s, isn't it?
Yeah, always, and we just proved that. What was it, 7, 8? There were 12 to 14 cars at some point throughout that race, even though it was just a few corners, that were actually fighting for the third place in a way. No, it was actually second. Then we dropped to third. Yeah. It's got quite misty here at Rockingham.
Yes, there's a bit of a dark cloud heading our, well, not heading our way, it's arrived, I'm afraid, and the Rockingham circuit may start becoming a little damp and greasy for too much longer. There you can see
it's a difficult surface as well. It's a very abrasive surface in the dry, but also very slippery in the wet. So it's one of these tracks that catches us drivers out all the time, and the teams, and the setup, and the tyre compound is imperatively right. You've got to make sure it's right with the setup. Yeah,
I've heard a lot of drivers commenting on that when it's wet, it's like an ice rink, this place, and there's very little margin for error as well. Although it's a wide open space, if you go off the track, chances are there's a gravel trap that's going to catch you, but that's going to bury you as well. You're not going to get out of that gravel trap, so it's oh so easy just to go a little bit too deep on the brakes, a little bit too eager on the throttle coming out of the corner, especially in a rear-wheel drive car, and find yourself pointing the wrong way, off of the road and out of the race.
I don't know what these guys look like, but I presume he's the winner.
I think that is that is Jerry Nicosia, who you wouldn't believe only a few years ago was racing in Ginetta Juniors. He actually looks rather mature by Ginetta GT5 standards, doesn't he? But
I love the way he just handed his girlfriend or his wife the bottle of water and said, "Take that, I've got champagne."
Yes, he's had a better offer, hasn't he? There are the 3 bottles of champagne being prepared for the top 3 AM drivers that I mentioned earlier on. They will make their way up onto the podium very shortly. We have an AM podium, and then we have the pro drivers, the drivers with that little bit more experience. But again, we're talking about pro drivers in their teens still. It really is remarkable. There are the AM drivers congratulating each other. Evans with another double race victory today for Evans.
And those sexy trophies.
Yes, no, very nice trophies indeed. And I appreciate it's got you can see the map of Rockingham on the side. I assume that we have a map of whichever racetrack we happen to be at for each round.
Yeah, that's right.
These cars will head next up in May to Thruxton, supporting actually the British Touring Car Championship that weekend.
Oh wow!
19th and 20th of
May.
Good
bonus for their sponsors, and I think the trophies will probably be different again. I would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely. But they will be putting on a show. They always do at that meeting. Thruxton.
Oh, you're not going to do this? It's obviously good champagne.
Yeah, they're saving that for later.
They're not wasting that, are they? That's 2 bottles they've now bagged this weekend.
Yeah, that's not cheap bottom shelf stuff, is it? They're looking after those bottles to be enjoyed later on this evening, somewhere a little bit warmer, I'd imagine, because that drizzle is definitely here now, and I would suggest is turning from drizzle to proper rain. It won't bother our overall podium finishers, though, who make their way up onto the podium. There is Morgan Quinn. Well, what a drive he has to finish third.
Phenomenal.
It really was. Some top-class defensive driving. It's difficult to defend around here because it's such a wide circuit, but he did not leave the door open all that often. In second place there, we have James Kellett. Extends his championship lead, though, of course, with Shane Stoney and Charlie Digby and Alex Toth-Jones, his nearest rivals, all having issues. But it's Jerry Nicosia who makes his way to the top step of the Rockingham podium. He is victorious in round number 5 of the championship. Well, it's been a fascinating day of racing for the Pro Tyre Motorsport Ginetta GT5 Challenge. We've had 3 very, very entertaining races here at Rockingham. We hope to see more of the same over the rest of the season. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you all again soon.